Long-Term Care RD and the State Survey, What You Need to Know About F-Tags by Doreen Rodo. The objectives are to be able to discuss the purpose of the State Operations Manual, to review the survey process, to be able to describe best practices for an RD during a state survey, and to explain the F-Tags involved with nutrition. The State Operations Manual defines the minimum health and safety standards that must be met by providers and suppliers that participate in Medicare and Medicaid programs. It provides guidance to surveyors for long-term care facilities and also serves as a guide for facilities to follow. State surveys are done to determine whether facilities are in compliance with Medicare and Medicaid standards. Until now, the surveyors used a traditional or quality indicator survey, QIS, and it is a computer-assisted process. The new survey process as of November 2017 takes the strengths of both survey processes. New State Survey 2017. The sample size is determined by the facility census. 70% of the total sample are pre-selected residents. This is done by using the minimum data set. 30% will be surveyor selected based on observations and interviews. 35 is the maximum survey size. Surveyors will select residents by interview, observation, and limited record review. 8 hours total on average will be spent on this. Surveyors will meet to discuss samples, and investigations are completed using the CE pathways, which will be explained in a later slide. What are F-tags? These are the regulatory tags that the state surveyors utilize to assess whether a facility is in compliance with Medicare and Medicaid standards. There are several F-tags included in the State Operations Manual. Some of them that pertain to nutrition are residents' rights, dignity, pressure sores, abuse, nutrition, therapeutic diets, dehydration, food, and many more. F325. Based on a resident's comprehensive assessment, the facility must ensure that a resident maintains acceptable parameters of nutritional status, such as usual body weight or desirable body weight, and electrolyte balance, unless the resident's clinical condition demonstrates that it is not possible or resident preferences indicate otherwise. F325 also says that based on a resident's comprehensive assessment, the facility must ensure that a resident is offered a therapeutic diet when there is a nutritional problem and the healthcare provider orders a therapeutic diet. So basically, if the doctor orders a therapeutic diet, then the facility is required to provide it, unless, of course, the resident decides they do not want to follow a therapeutic diet. F327, Assisted Nutrition and Hydration. Based on the resident's comprehensive assessment, the facility must ensure that a resident is offered sufficient fluid intake to maintain proper hydration and health. Surveyors are going to look to see if sampled residents show signs and symptoms of poor fluid intake. For example, dry skin, dry mucous membranes, cracked lips, poor skin turgor, thirst, and fever. F363, Menus and Nutrition Adequacy. Menus must meet the nutrition needs of residents in accordance with established national guidelines. They must be prepared in advance, they must be followed, and they must be updated periodically. F371, the facility must procure food from sources approved or considered satisfactory by federal, state, or local authorities. They must store, prepare, distribute, and serve food in accordance with professional standards for food service safety. So since this is in the State Operations Manual, these are the exact guidelines that we would follow in long-term care facilities. The intent of this requirement is to ensure that the facility follows proper sanitation and food handling practices to prevent the outbreak of foodborne illness. Safe food handling for the prevention of foodborne illness begins when the food is received from the vendor and continues throughout the facility's food handling processes. F371 had a new addition to the 2017 State Operations Manual update, and this was that the facility must have a policy regarding the use and storage of foods brought to residents by family and other visitors to ensure safe and sanitary storage, handling, and consumption. This was most likely added because many times families bring in food and they leave them at bedside thinking that the resident's going to consume it right away. But there may be a case where the resident isn't hungry at that moment and it sits at the bedside and it's out at room temperature when it really should be refrigerated. So this guideline is going to help facilities to prevent foodborne illness by making sure that anything left at bedside is refrigerated appropriately. F241 Dignity. Causes for this deficiency during meals. Frequent use of plasticware and disposable dishes. Using a clothing protector instead of a napkin unless the individual prefers a clothing protector and it's on the resident care plan. Standing over a resident while feeding them, and staff interacting with coworkers instead of the resident while assisting them. Other potential deficiencies related to nutrition. One is FTAG 150, residents' rights. An example of this would be if the resident developed a pressure injury and a comprehensive nutrition assessment was not completed. FTAG 279, comprehensive care plans. Failure to develop a comprehensive care plan could be the cause for this deficiency. For example, if someone had a weight loss and this was not noted on the resident care plan, then this will cause an F279 deficiency. FTAG 280, comprehensive care plan revision. The cause would be failure to revise a care plan after an assessment to maintain acceptable nutrition parameters. If someone had a change, such as a new pressure injury, and interventions were not added to the resident care plan, then this would be the cause of the deficiency. Deficiency categories. Severity level 1 means no actual harm with potential for minimal harm. Severity level 2, no actual harm with the potential for more than minimal harm that is not immediate jeopardy. Severity level 3 is actual harm that is not immediate jeopardy. Severity level 4 is immediate jeopardy to the resident's health or safety. Deficiency categories for F371. Severity level 1 does not apply for this FTAG. Severity level 2 would be failure to wash hands after re-entering the kitchen from outside and proceeding to prepare food. And this is severity level 2 because no actual harm may occur, but there is a potential for more than minimal harm. And this would be severity level 3 because actual harm may occur that is not immediate jeopardy. Severity level 4 would be a raw roast with juices overflowing, thawing above salad that was uncovered and served at the noon meal. This would be immediate jeopardy to the resident's health and safety. Survey process. When the state comes in, they usually head to the kitchen within 15 minutes. The dietary staff doesn't have much time to label items, clean equipment, or throw out old food. That's why it's important to do these tasks regularly. They have a generated list of high-risk residents, such as those with weights and wounds. Then they do chart audits, speak to staff, family, and the residents to determine if there is a violation. The goal is to have everything available and make sure that staff have good habits all year round, so there's not a lot for them to look for. Survey process tips. Make sure that weights are readily available so that the surveyors do not have to search for the information. Also, timely chart all weight changes. Don't wait until June 30th to chart a weight loss that occurred on June 3rd. In addition, make sure that if adaptive equipment is ordered, that it is available at mealtime. If it isn't, it would be a FTAG violation, and this is something that the state will focus in on. Lastly, only answer questions that are asked and give the copies that they request. You do not want to give them a reason to further investigate. I mentioned previously that the state will use a critical element pathway to determine if there is a violation. Here's an example of page 1 of 5 of the nutrition pathway. They will go through each section, then determine how to proceed. As you can imagine, it's a very thorough investigation. Please refer to the reference at the end of this video to explore more of the pages in the nutrition element pathway. RD's responsibilities during the state survey: ensure that the menu is signed and followed, to have weights available in case the surveyor specifically asks you a question regarding someone's weights, provide any information that the surveyors request, but make a copy of it and provide that to the facility. If time permits, head to the kitchen to see if there's any issues that can be quickly addressed. Complete meal rounds and troubleshoot any issues such as missing adaptive equipment or the need for an alternate meal. Ensure that the policies and procedures are in place, because if there's an issue, the surveyors will ask for a specific policy. For example, if there's an issue with weights being taken timely, they may ask to see the procedure for taking weights. Preparing for the state survey can be a daunting task. The key is to be aware of the survey standards, and you can do so by looking in your state operations manual. Honor the residents' ability to choose. Initiate quality improvement programs, and be survey ready every day. I hope you enjoyed the presentation today. If you have additional questions or need further information about nutrition in long-term care, check out my other videos: Nutrition in Long-Term Care, Becoming a Long-Term Care RD, or how to fill out the K section of the MDS.